pull stuff from the API?
Live. Hey, security peeps. We are live with another edition of Breaking Into Cybersecurity. I'm here with the fun gang. I'm Renee Small, cybersecurity super recruiter, helping demystify cybersecurity careers for the month of October. We are in day number 29. I think I've done 30 something live streams already, which is nutso. Here with my two favorite CISOs. First and foremost, Naomi Buckwalter. Say hi to everybody.
Hey,
Naomi.
everyone. What's up?
Ooh, Naomi.
Oh, gosh.
And and my second, he's coming in.
Oh, no, Renee, you're on mute.
Renee, you're on mute. So do I need to introduce myself?
You have to introduce yourself. My second brother from another mother, James. I'm like, he's coming in as like a number two. James Azar.
Yes.
What's
yes.
up, y'all? What is up? You know, Halloween's on Saturday, right? Like, so I'm curious to know, if you had to interview on Halloween, would you show up to your job interview in a costume?
I feel like, why not? Face painted, really gives a vibe of who you really are. Mm-hmm. Or you could come with well, I guess it's all virtual. I was gonna say come with little baggies of candy, get people kind of sugared up.
I feel like if it wasn't a pandemic, then yeah, you should show off a little bit about your character, but don't go crazy. Don't dress up as like it from the clown from It. Like, don't do that. But
well, it's a Saturday, so who's interviewing on Saturday?
That's a good point.
Yeah. All right. Some people are chiming in already. Morning. Sepper. Morning, Danielle. Danielle's always here. I love Danielle. Morning, Nora. People that are always here. Sepper says, "I'll be a ghost and never show up."
Oh, that's clever.
That is very clever.
Ghosting. Funny, and just message the person. That is hilarious. So we have a couple things to talk about, and we are going to be shorter than usual this time because we all have to run. BB says hi. Hey, BB. These are all our cool people that come all the time. Naomi had this super cool, she did some fun stuff this week. She's like the LinkedIn queen of polls. So Naomi created this poll.
There's an aspect to that. Yeah. Like, I'm wondering if Naomi did like a presidential poll, we might get actual results, right? Like, we might get some true feeling as to what's going to happen on Tuesday.
I know. You're the queen of polls. You're getting the truth from people. I want to know the real deal. So Naomi did a poll about, what'd you do a poll about, Naomi?
Yeah. It was just, a question for all of you. If you are a new person trying to break into cybersecurity, what's the number one thing you need to have? Is it a cert of any kind? Is it any work experience? Is it a home lab? Or is it social media presence, like our friends Renee and James have here? That's right. Out of the four, what do you think? What do you guys think was the number one choice?
I voted home lab.
Yeah, that's what I voted too. James, what did you vote? Did you see my poll?
I did see the poll, and I forgot what I voted, but I'm pretty sure it was home lab.
Yeah, it's funny. Sure. And I'm breaking down the data right now using the Voyager API. LinkedIn has a secret API. Ooh. It dumps everything in JSON, so I'm manipulating the data right now, and I can pull out the types of people who have responded. So I am now categorizing the data by the responder type, which is by seniority and industry. So I'm trying to figure out like how long they've been in this and how long, by age, do you think it has something to do? Does that correlate with the response? So I'm looking into that right now. But the answer is certs right now. The leader is certs. You need to have more people agreed that you should have certs than home labs. It's close. It was like 37% to 35% or something like that. But more people think certs is more important, which is surprising, honestly, because all three of us here have voted home labs, right? Like, you would think experience trumps just book knowledge.
Well, I mean, yes.
Well, one second, guys. Is there somebody said there's an echo. Do you still hear the echo? I don't hear it.
I don't have it either.
I don't hear it either. So maybe it's Nora, maybe it's your situation. Go ahead, James. Sorry.
So let's talk a little bit about that whole idea of what a home lab means, right? Like, a home lab means that you're passionate about security, right? You don't just have your Xfinity router or your AT&T router in your kind of, it talks about how you view security in your personal life. And it also talks about your not only just your passion, but also like the stuff that you're competent on, right? So like if you're spooling up servers in your home, if you're, you've got mesh systems and you hardwire everything and you've got 5-6 different Wi-Fi networks because, you've got your, someone likes to have a smart home and you've got just a network for your smart devices and so forth. That tells a lot about a person.
Yeah. And that's what I voted that because A, ditto to what James said, and B, that's what every CISO says. Like every leader that's on this show says home lab, passion, ditto to James. Home lab equals passion. Home lab means you're doing the work. You're actually, this is how you get your experience. And we all know experience trumps everything else, right?
Oh yeah.
So,
but James is right. I mean, like it depends on the quality of your home lab too, just like the quality of your certs, I guess. Like if you're, I don't want to knock on like CEH, but if you're just getting the CEH and nothing else, there's some quality of certs that are just going to be better. Same with home labs. If you're just going to be, like James said, just going to have like the one router with no subnets, nothing else, nothing really extravagant there, no virtual machines, nothing like that, then it's not going to be that impressive and people are going to notice.
JJ says, I would say social media presence because as you can show, you have been doing in your home lab and studies, digital CV, got to broadcast this passion and ability. I like that, JJ.
JJ's beard gives him special powers.
JJ's home lab is
JJ, everybody can't look like you, sir. The beard and the muscles.
the beard, the muscles, and then the hoodie covering the head.
Everything else.
I don't know if he was like on a cast call for like a hacker on a TV show, and they were like, "We need a beard and a hoodie."
Exactly.
He's a body double of
everything else is gonna be dark. It's all gonna be dark. Jokes. Roger says, "Yay, open curtains." Yes, open curtains today. It's a whole running thing about these curtains back here.
So hang on. I want to challenge something that JJ said, and I'm dying to hear what Naomi has to say about this. I'm very wary of showing my home lab on camera.
Well, no, I don't think that's what he's saying. He says social media presence. Just talk about the things that you've done, but you don't have to show your public IP address.
No, as you can show what you have done. No, look at the second part. As you can show what you have been doing in your home lab and studies. So like in social media, you show what you're doing. I mean, I'm all for showing capabilities. Like I feel like social media presence, like blogging or going on podcast or just, having an opinion and sticking to your opinion and following through with it matters. But a home lab to me is like showing your SOC or your fusion center, right? It's like letting people bring in a phone to your like SOC or fusion center, like, no phones allowed, kind of.
I think you could be more high level than that. You don't have to go into detail of how every little switch.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I just like to play the devil's advocate.
No, I guess. Yeah, let's have some conflict on the show. Hell yeah. So I agree with JJ here. Like, I think the more you share, the more people can learn from you. I think that's his point. It's use your social media presence, use your influence, whatever kind you have. And you can do it as a new person too. Just tell people how you got in or tell people the things you're studying. Like anyone can do this. It's actually not hard. So.
Or just build an anonymous character, like give yourself an alias. Like if you always wanted your name to be Dylan, then make yourself like Dylan something. And, no one will know it's you. Wear a mask and a hat.
And then you have to also put the shades on like how Chris does in our little logo up here and the hat and scarf and be an enigma.
You're right. Chris is very mysterious. I think it's part of his character for sure.
He's behind the curtains. All right. Oni says, I kind of think the cert is usually to move beyond the HR stage, but you get actual experience from home labs and CTF challenges.
Agree
too.
Yeah, certs is just book knowledge, honestly. I mean, unless you're doing OSCP, but then you're really just hacking 5 boxes? Like, are you also fixing them? I don't know. I've never done OSCP. Is that part of it? Recommendations on remediation?
I'm really curious about, Naomi, who said what. So when you get those results, you guys are back.
Call people out.
Next week, hint, hint. When we're back together again next Thursday.
No, it's been interesting.
We gotta come with the stats, because I'm real curious about. I feel like the leaders are saying the home lab, and then like the people who don't know are saying certs. I'm really curious about that.
So I'll tell you something. There are people who go into cyber who don't have technical backgrounds, right? They can't code. They don't know how to spool a server. And so when we say a home lab trumps certs, we're talking about technical roles. If you're coming for a GRC role, I don't really care about your home lab. Like, because if you're not technical and you're coming from a governance background or a risk background, you're coming more from that place. I don't know how relevant it is to have a home lab.
Oh, there's crossover. You know, how are you going to tell somebody how to comply with something if you don't know what the architecture looks like? Like,
True.
At some level, you have to know what the person is doing. So, and you got to work as a team. So,
no, and you're absolutely right. I just feel like and again, it's there's different thought processes based on different roles, right? If you're hiring a red teamer or a blue teamer or a purple teamer or a CTI person, you're going to want to know more about their home lab and their home hygiene and so forth. Then there's other roles where you go, okay, do you have the basic technical knowledge? And you know what kind of home lab, but then does that home lab really, is it as big of a factor as, let's say, for example, if you're hiring a red team or if you're hiring someone to do risk?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Lincoln says some certs are very hands-on.
Not the certs I've done.
Mm-hmm.
not the ones I've attempted to myself. JJ says Craig Evans is a perfect example of a great approach to breaking into cybersecurity, flawless execution. He is absolutely right. So I don't know if you all have heard of or seen Craig Evans. Craig is in the UK. He broke into cybersecurity. He was actually working at Krispy Kreme. So he was a manager at Krispy Kreme and then started studying, did the home lab, tinkered, all that good stuff, and then broke into security. And he was on with us about a week and a half ago, sharing how he did it. So awesome, flawless execution. I agree. Roger says the hoodie, do not forget the hoodie.
Yeah. I always ask people, what's your favorite hoodie? Do you have a favorite hoodie?
Everyone has a favorite hoodie, yeah.
What's your favorite hoodie?
I got one from Contrast Security. Shout out to those guys. They sent me a free hoodie. I will wear anything that's free.
Renee?
Mine is and I'll wear it next time. I used to work at this high school, and these kids created a brand. And I bought this hoodie from them like 10 years ago, and it is awesome, and I still wear it. And I can't even remember what the name is on the back of the brand, but that's my favorite one.
What about you, James?
What about you?
I'm like Naomi. If you send me free stuff, I'll wear it. Yeah. So I got a Wounded Warrior hoodie.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
And if you watch like a lot of my old podcasts during the winter, when like people would come to my house, I'd wear my Wounded Warrior hoodie, especially in the cold.
Yeah, hoodies have to be black, JJ. You're right. Are there any other kinds of hoodies?
I have a
gray, like a charcoal gray.
Dark gray, yeah, that's
dark gray.
Charcoal gray.
Yeah, charcoal gray. Mine's dark. I mean, it's burgundy.
Yeah, that shows
like Ron Burgundy.
Is it what?
It shows you have personality if it's not just black.
It's like JJ's beard's color.
Oh,
nice. Danielle says JJ Davy, Mr. Robot. Yes. Roger says, I'm not technical, but I enjoy working with people and believe cybersecurity to be very important.
We need everyone in cybersecurity. We need technical and non-technical. We need so many people. Cyber is beyond technical. Not to dismiss the technical aspect of cyber, which is extremely important and is the foundation of cyber. But beyond that, you need the people who are able to, who are good at data analytics and are able to build out data lakes and use the cyber data to really give you some good stuff as well. So we need critical thinkers in cyber.
Oh yeah.
100%.
And happily, I'm seeing that there's no like tiers in cybersecurity. There used to be where it's like the technical folks are like more elite, and then like GRC folks would be on the back end of that and be like, eh. But I don't see that as much. I don't know about you guys. What do you think? It's like everyone's kind of equal now and equality.
What have we socialized cyber? No.
We're getting there. We are getting there.
Can't be. Cyber should always be capitalist. You know what? You know how cyber's still capitalist? Because you and I still get free shit in the mail and no one else does. Right? That's how you know cyber's still capitalist. And what you're talking about is team foundation, and that's teamwork. And in teamwork, no one's above the other.
That's right. And
everyone's sharing up their hoodies. So Roger has a gray hoodie.
Okay, nice.
Hey, Tyrone. Who has the Star Wars hoodie? That sounds cool.
You know what? You know who has the most Star Wars stuff is Gary Hayslip. Like that guy, like his, like everything is Star Wars. That's probably him. That might be him. You never know. Like anonymously going like my Star Wars hoodie's the best.
User.
Yeah, the LinkedIn users like, I don't want people to know that I wear Star Wars hoodies.
Everyone know it's all over. I love Gary Hayslip. Oh my God. He is my favorite. Okay, he's not my favorite. You guys are my favorite new CISOs. He's my favorite. I have so many favorite CISOs. It's tough. It's hard. BB says, I have a black uni QLO hoodie. It's the coziest. Ooh, that sounds fun. Tyrone's hoodie, any hoodie that's a zip up instead of a pullover. I 100% agree. I'm not pulling anything over my head. We need positive people who are fully committed to guarding critical infrastructure.
Yes, we do.
I think that is Leighton. Leighton
well said.
Leighton has the Star Wars hoodie that beats Gary's. That's funny. Leighton is one of my recruiter buddies. I don't know if you know him. We will have to get him on here one day again. And Danielle says, I'm looking into a Captain Marvel hoodie. It's
so funny how a hoodie drives people. Right? Yeah. Like, what if you told someone, like, show up for a job interview? Like, I'd love to see Naomi say, hey, our job interviews is you got to wear your hoodie and, like, your favorite pair of jeans.
People would show out. Pullover hoodies mess up JJ's beard. And they mess up
but zip up could catch your beard. Like, what hurts most? Messing up your beard or catching your beard with the zipper? Right. Like I'm Mediterranean. Like I can't wear zip up hoodies. Like I got a hairy chest. Like that would never work for me. Like my taco meat would get caught
wait a minute, you're naked underneath the hoodie.
TMI.
Of course. TMI. Like who wears a t-shirt under a hoodie? What's the point?
Dude.
Should we have the discussion of do you wear a t-shirt under a hoodie?
Right now, this is a lot. Joshua says I have a Marine Corps hoodie. That's about it.
Semper Fi.
Leighton is in hiding, and Leighton is hiding. He's hiding under all those job openings that we still can't fill. Okay, BB has the hood, the zip ups. Somebody says, "Yay, my favorite cyber celebs." Yay. BB wants a jean and hoodie interview.
Yes, so, I'm telling you, it works. It takes away all the nervousness of interviewing. Like we want to talk about resumes, but you know, interviewing is just as important as resumes, right? Like a casual interview is just as important as a casual, you know, everything else.
They're like peanut butter and jelly. I mean, it all goes together. You have the resume first, you got the interview. Sometimes the interview comes before the resume. To James's point, it's casual. When you're doing all these volunteer opportunities that people have been talking about recently. What's interesting, what I've learned this week in particular, or probably the last 2 weeks or so of having people on daily, is that everyone that has come on within the past couple weeks, they ended up getting their opportunity or gaining their experience from volunteering at organizations. So all of the, you know, we talk about the home lab, we talk about these various things, but a lot of them, they were able to build a network, understand more about security by volunteering at either, Women in Cyber, or there was a young lady who was at one of the ISSA conferences and kind of got thrown in to the conference to talk about, to learn and just volunteer. Mm-hmm. And then that's how she learned more about security. And then she went back, she had a history degree, decided that she wanted to get into security, and took it from there. So that's been a really cool
volunteer at events. Volunteer at events. I got a message, and it was a very interesting LinkedIn message. And I'm not going to say the person's name. I don't want to put him out there, right? Like, when people message me asking for help, I don't want to call them out. But it was a very interesting message, because it essentially what he said was, I've got a bachelor's, I get my master's in cyber, and I'm trying to get a job, but every job requires experience, but I can't, I've got the paperwork, right? But everyone goes, you're either overqualified for an entry level job because you've got your master's, or you're underqualified for management roles because you don't have any experience in doing anything else in cyber.
Yay, Chris is here.
Voila.
Chris is here.
Hey, Chris, what's happening? Hey, we're matching today. You want me to go put on my sunglasses?
You had the audacity to show up. Yeah, put your glasses on. We got to all show up in black. So it's going to be Black Thursdays.
I guess Naomi missed the memo.
Yeah, I actually put on a real shirt. I ran out of sweatpants and stuff, so I'm actually wearing real clothes.
Oh,
who says this isn't real clothes?
Yeah, but back to the point of getting experience, even within your own company, if it's a big enough company, you can probably go to your security team and say, hey, do you have any work for someone who just needs a little bit of experience? Give me all your grunt work, please. I can do it. And trust me, the security team will happily give you all the things that are like, yes, go ahead and take this off my plate. They will be happy to. And I spoke to someone who recently just got into cybersecurity doing the same thing. He had been doing help desk for a little bit, approached the CISO at the company, and fairly large company, maybe like 800 people. And he said, hey, is there any room on your team? And the CISO, she said, no, but do you want to intern for us? Unpaid. You still have to do your regular job, but give me a couple hours a week, whatever it is. And he said, yes. And then he did that for about 6 months, got a full-time offer under the CISO, and now is working full-time on the security team. So he just made, and I can tell you a lot of people do it this way. I did it this way also. I didn't intern, but I just studied and got a role. But if you are in a big enough company and they have a security team, that's definitely one way of getting experience. Don't look past that. Go out there and ask. You just have to ask, what's the worst thing they can say?
No.
Totally. And that's exactly.
How many of us would be in a relationship if we were afraid to hear no?
I don't know, James.
I guess for me and Chris, I guess for Chris and I, it'd be different. I mean, Naomi and Renee are probably like, we said no all the time. You know how long it took for us to say yes? It took a very long time for us to say yes. It was dinners.
You have to say no.
Yeah. We're programmed to say no. Like, a girl's first word is no. A boy's first word is dad.
Well, I'll tell you what, maybe guys should say no more often, especially when we're security leaders, because that's how we get in trouble, by trying to please everyone. So while we enable the business, we have to manage the risks. So maybe not saying yes to all their smart ideas, but making sure that they understand the risks involved is a good way to go.
It's a brilliant way to go. But if we say more, I think if we say more, I think that the challenge with yes and no is the whole concept of open ideas and discussion, or shutting stuff down. Because I feel like if we say no a lot, then people are afraid to speak up, and there has to be that balance.
Absolutely.
Comments in here. David Vaughn says, geez, Renee Small, I see how it is. David Vaughn, we have to figure out how
David Vaughn is the LinkedIn user. That guy is shady. He is so shady, David Vaughn. Shady David is what I like to call him. Shady
David Vaughn, this is what it is. This is what's happening. When we're on here and we're on StreamYard, you come up as LinkedIn user. You don't come up as David Vaughn. So that's why I say someone. Okay. Let's see. More comments. Roger. Galen was an example. Yes, Galen was the example. She volunteered and then got into the new role, and she had the history major. She was awesome, and she was actually, I think she's speaking today at the ISSA conference down in North Carolina, and it was her first conference. She came on here. She was really nervous, but she rocked. She was awesome. Okay, Jose, I believe is pronounced. Mr. Francois. Remember Mr. Francois from last week?
I do remember Monsieur Francois.
Yeah,
Bonjour, Monsieur Francois. Comment ça va?
He says,
Comment
hey guys,
allez-vous, monsieur?
on a serious note, I am considering going out of school, getting certs, and jumping in the field now to build experience while going to school part-time online instead. Right now, I'm going to school full-time to use the GI Bill. What do you think?
So I'm going to weigh in on this because I've recorded like 16 episodes for Veteran November, which starts on Sunday, which is very, very exciting. And I will say this, certs and getting experience are going to help you get in the door, and you can continue to do school part-time under your GI Bill and still succeed. I'm all for doing that. Like, I don't know, Naomi, Chris, Renee, you may disagree with me, but I'm all for that. That's just brilliant.
Yeah, and thanks for your service, Jose.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Francois.
Monsieur Francois.
Tony,
s'il vous plaît.
My buddy Tony Barnett is here today, saying interning while in school is the most effective way to go. Tony, so excited to see you.
So similar to what James was saying and what Tony's saying, yes, when you can combine working and education, it's the best of both worlds, because you now have the opportunity to put into play the concepts that you're learning. And the faster that you can take theory to practice, it just sticks in the brain better, and you can better understand the rest of your learning, because you're like, oh, this is how this relates to this, and these are the impacts that you have when you combine the different topics. So I'm all for that.
I'm with you. We had a guest come on, gosh, his name is slipping my mind, but he was on Saturday or Sunday, and he is at Drexel University. And Drexel has this amazing program that I don't know why every university should be looking at Drexel and literally rinsing and repeating what they do. They put their students through co-ops. So he does 6 months of school, 6 months of a co-op, full time. Then 6 months of school, then 6 more months of a co-op. And he said that he was going to finish his undergrad and his master's all at once. He was on target to do it in about 4 years. He had about 1.5 years of real world security experience through this co-op. And I mean, he already had a year. He had 1.5 years. I think by the time he gets out of school, he would have had 2 years experience. So internships, getting the part-time, all of that, amazing. So LinkedIn user, Shady David.
That's David Vaughn.
Shady David says, Mr. Francois, certs expire, a degree doesn't. Maintaining certifications gets expensive when you don't have an employer willing to pay for renewals and maintenance fees.
I would challenge that and say that while degrees don't expire, they do age. And the materials that you learn within a degree can already be out of date by the time you're learning it, because to develop a curriculum often takes 3 to 4 years to have that curriculum developed, approved, tested, to make sure it meets like certain compliance and other standards. So that would be the thing there. And then don't forget, there's the difference between theoretical and practical. And most of the times your certifications are half focused on theory and some on practice. So they're usually, most of the times, have that practical experience built into the certification, whereas most educational degrees don't have as much of that practical application in it. Some of the schools are changing. For example, like I'm trying to integrate that practical experience in all the classes that I teach, but not a lot of the universities try to integrate that practice.
Spoken from the college
professor.
Well, but Chris, you're absolutely right. I think most people don't understand how long it takes to update a college curriculum. So, I mean, you learn outdated stuff a lot of times.
Yeah.
Which is why they end up teaching that foundational stuff. And then some people think that you can't get it at other places. You're like, you have to go to college to get a foundation. I'm like, that's kind of BS.
You don't. Okay, folks, more and more comments. David is not the only shady one. So Shady Leighton and Shady David. David said he's so shady.
David is.
Is that an inside joke? Is it like something about wearing glasses or something?
So if you don't know David Vaughn's like a legend. This guy, like whenever I see him, I just want to salute and say, yes, sir. Right? Like he's like the ultimate American badass.
Nice. So good.
He is.
Roger says rah rah like a Drexel dragon. Drexel is awesome. I was like, I need to talk to somebody over there. I want to understand the program and help somebody else rinse and repeat. Okay, so there's some comments up here that I want to start with first. IBM has great internships across the country, and a close relative of mine just received an awesome full-time offer after a 3-month internship. This is Leighton, Shady Leighton. That's how I got my first job too. I did an internship in college. They only hire from the internship pool, which is what Tony says. Many companies will only hire from their intern pool. And people don't understand, like, an internship, when they're done right through organizations, that's the pipeline. You hire a bunch of interns with the expectation to hire some full time. So you don't have to go back out there and try to recruit. It makes it like super easy. Mr. Francois thanks us for our...
Renee, are you seeing a lot of companies opening up internships to mid-career professionals, not just students? Because it's kind of a privileged thing at this point. Like, if you can afford to go to college and not have to work to pay for it, you don't have kids to take care of, and at the same time you can take an internship because you have all the time in the world. But some of the applicants I talk to, they're really struggling. They have a full-time job, they have kids at home, they're trying to study for a cert and do all these extra things, but they just don't have time. They can't do an internship. What would you say to them?
I 100, I have not seen a lot of companies doing non-traditional internships. I think there's definitely an opportunity there, though, to do like some kind of like additional part-time something, so that you don't have to be, a 21-year-old or whatever, and your parents living with someone, like you said. And I'm with you. My heart breaks for the people, because they're the ones really that reach out to me, is that they're working at Target, they're working at Walmart, they have kids, they're doing that, and they go to school, and then they can't get that opportunity to be in some organization full time. So I have not seen anything like that. But if people out here are seeing that, let me know. I know some of the apprenticeship programs are helping.
Well, let's address that real quick, because Naomi brought up, like, that's why I love doing these with Naomi. She's such an out of a box thinker, right? So COVID, obviously internship programs, apprenticeships, all that stuff kind of really did change, and it changed dramatically because of it, right? Some companies had to lay people off. They're not bringing anyone on. They don't want to bring on new recruits during COVID because they're afraid of, what if someone comes with COVID? And so maybe it's time for us to reinvent what an apprenticeship or an internship is. Like you said, a lot of people have kids. They're trying to break into cyber, by studying while working a full-time job, maintaining a household, trying to support all of that. So what do we do? And so we have to reinvent maybe the idea of, apprenticeship and internship to make it more accessible to people. And that could be through maybe like a capture the flag, like going to one of our vendors, one of our preferred vendors, someone who we spend a lot of money with, and leveraging that relationship to set something up, to let people work on something small projects to gain some experience that, they get some points for it.
Yeah, I think that'd be great if it was stretched out potentially over weekends or over evenings or something where, it's little bits of experience, stretched out over a course of time. I think it would be a fantastic idea.
I think security vendors could play here too, because I think security vendors could use a lot of help in a lot of areas, including things like usability, just testing their products, getting feedback from users. A lot of the things they come out with sometimes are like, wow, this really did not hit what I needed at all. And why are you even trying to sell it to me? So if they even had a pool of people that were thinking, can I bounce some ideas off of you guys? You have book knowledge in this area. Why don't I try to use that somehow? Here's a product that I want to try to sell to the industry. Do you think it would be even helpful? Like more beta testing, I think is what I'm going for. There's absolutely like no reason why these vendor companies aren't doing this, but I feel like they're coming out with these products and I'm just like, and I've seen so many that are just awful.
Well, they're half baked. So they're coming up with a product that's half baked. And they want us to test it in a live environment, take risk.
Nope.
Sometimes they even want us to spend money, right? Or if we're not spending money, we're spending resources, which cost us money, right? And then it's not done right. I mean, this is why I like to think like cybersecurity should be a community, right? And it's not CISO versus vendor or CISO versus CIO, or like if we just understood that and took all of our efforts and realized that cybersecurity is a team sport, and for us as CISOs to be successful in our roles, we not only need a really good team and really smart people, like smarter than us working for us, but we also need good partners as in vendors. And our vendors should understand what problems can they solve beyond what they're selling. Well, and a lot of these vendors have their own certs too. Like you got to be certified on my product to use it. So why not take these younger kids that are looking for the opportunity, teach them, and then you can plug them into your client. Like, hey, I'm going to bring you 2 people entry level that can maintain this product. It's going to, interview them, see if you want them. We have a pool of talented folks to do this work.
Sounds smart. I like that idea. Like that. Buy my product, you get 2 interns or whatever.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right, but to help you run it.
Yeah,
yes, exactly. 2 dedicated. Yeah.
Any way somebody could get experience, I am all for it. JJ says Black Thursday hoodie sale. Craig Evans says all that black, you would make a great rock band. I'm feeling very rock bandish right now with this crew. Craig Evans says, I think employers respect you more for asking about volunteering. Craig is like the master at this. BB, how do you advise someone who's overqualified or underqualified or no experience and cannot get a cyber volunteer opportunity? Can you get one? I think.
Wait, who was over or under or no?
I think she got one. Well, go ahead. Who wants to answer?
No, we're fine. Keep going.
Okay, Tyrone, the dumbest question answered is the one that is not asked. I agree with that. All right, let's go down here. And I know we got to wrap soon today. HR only knows how to say no. That is why you step over or around them to the hiring managers. That's right. I think that's Shady Layton talking about HR. A fellow HRian like me that we fight with HR all the time. We went through that comment already. Let's go down. InfoSecCon is tomorrow. That's where Galen is speaking. James wants to know, what do you recommend to shortcut the energy that recruiters take up to get a faster conversation? Oh, that's what Layton said. Exactly. Straight to the hiring manager. Go straight to LinkedIn. I think we got a lot of these. This is the CISO Mastermind group. I like that. That's what Danielle says. If you align with NICE, applied learning is required. One of the worst things to happen to the IT industry is DoD 8570.1, which pushed DoD certs for anyone that had to right-click on a mouse. DoD 8140 does exactly what Chris hit upon, requiring individuals to demonstrate their skill sets, sometimes even during an interview. While that is specific to DoD, this trend is starting to be adopted across private sector as well. Shady David.
Well, so Dave is right, because the history of our nation and the history of companies in the country is we see what the government's doing, and the one thing that they do right when it comes to like security or basic stuff, we want to copy that into private industry. And cybersecurity is one of those things where boards feel like one of the ways to reduce the risk is to be like, what's the government doing? Because if the government's doing it and we do what they're doing, then we can't get sued for it. The regulators can't come for us because, hey, we're doing what you're doing. We're using your standards. These are your government standards.
Right.
And so David's absolutely right.
I think this is Katia. She says, I just talked about this topic today. How do recruiters and HR receive flashy, over-the-top colored resumes for the tech industry? I haven't seen these. Are you guys seeing?
Have you seen any, Naomi?
No, colored resumes?
I haven't seen any of this. I do
have
know
seen fancy ones, though. They're very fancy out there.
I've seen some fancy stuff. I've seen some, kind of infographic type. The only challenge with that is that if you're applying, it's not going to get through the applicant tracking system. But we don't want you. I mean, obviously, we want you to go around the applicant tracking system. But I know James has to hop. I don't know if
I got 5 more minutes. We got 5 more minutes. Let's go. Yeah.
Okay,
so on that, for the infographic resume, I would say that's why you have 2 resumes, one for people and one for systems. Mm-hmm. So you have like a plain old Jane resume that the applicant tracking system can read, because eventually, even if you bypass the hiring manager, they'll be like, okay, now we really need you to still apply, and you're just going to go through hell if you try to submit the infographic resume to the applicant tracking system, because they'll make you retype it anyways. So that's why you have 2 resumes.
I think that goes to Naomi's resume conversation that we're going to have to bump to next week. But Naomi put up a post about resumes, and that, everyone has this thing about having a 1-page resume and recommended 2 to 3 pages. And then people chimed in with their different opinions. I chimed in with what I saw. So I think that infographic one kind of, because I think someone put up, was it Marissa Mayers, I think, her resume, the lady who was what was she? CEO of Yahoo?
CEO at Yahoo, yeah.
Right. So they put up a little infographic one of her. And they were like, yeah, this captures it all, but it doesn't.
That's not fair, because she's more famous than her resume. Exactly. Like, you know who she is, and you can Google her, and she has her resume on Google, basically. Like, you search for her and you can get an idea of who she is.
Exactly.
Her resume was kind of ridiculous. If you looked at it, you're like, this would not fly.
Trust me, no executive is walking around with
Did she have responsible for the largest data breach in U.S. history? Did she have that on her resume?
Tony Barnett says, the key to internship is there is little risk to an employer to engage an intern for 3 to 6 months on a part-time basis. Hiring a recent grad without experience has a cost risk most firms avoid. The list of issues is too long to go into. And Tony worked at one startup cyber company.
I agree with that. I think, it's, again, we kind of go back to that. And I think all of this applies directly to your CV. So Naomi, I saw your post also about, 1 page, 3 pages. I like a 1-page CV. I do. I like a 1-page CV and just put 2 or 3 lines about what you did, your 2 or 3 highlights, and give me 1 page. 1, safe trees, safe paper. Number, right?
Digital trees, James. I like
Green
to scroll.
Planet.
No. Disagree. Well, if you're under 5 years experience,
right. For junior people, yeah, definitely. What are you going to fill it with? Like pictures?
I've had to coach some college students, and like traditional college students, right? So 21, 20 years old, they got 2-page resumes. I'm like, look.
But I think that's where the advice comes from, is from college grads. Like, you only have 1 page of experience. Don't try to stretch it. But then the farther you get, and after 3 or 5 years, you really are hurting yourself by just putting like 1 page.
Totally. So. Justin Jones says, always pull language off of the job posting that aligns to your background, makes it easier on a recruiter to push you through. That is Keywords. The truth. Mm-hmm. James says he has a 15-year-old son who holds multiple security certifications. What organizations are willing to offer part-time jobs? Do you know who's offering part-time jobs right now?
For 15-year-old kids?
Yeah, for 15.
Risk takers.
Yeah, that's tough.
Hey, just because he's 15 doesn't mean he's any
Yeah, but the there's a legal liability. There's a legal liability.
And child labor laws and all sorts of stuff.
Labor, you're right. I don't know what age that's.
Hey, Chris, when was the last time you went to McDonald's, man? Or Chick-fil-A or Burger King? Like that's like child labor law right there, man.
That's child labor central.
I think at Pennsylvania,
at 14, you can only work, I think, like 8 hours. And then at 16, you can work up to 20-something hours, at least in California 10 years ago or 20 years ago when I was working. But you do have to be very careful with the number of hours that they work, especially if you're
That's a good point.
It's a challenge. I work with this high school, Marshall High School over here, and it's one of the challenges around internship, trying to get high school students internships and all of that. It's definitely a liability.
But that's why if you like partner with your vendors and you create an online place for people to go and get credit and show you their skills, and you're able to review it and mentor them, and that'll help them get recognized within the community to get a job. That helps. I mean, at the end of the day, vendors need people, we need people, everyone needs people. So let's combine those efforts and do something easier than just a traditional, let's find non-traditional ways to solve traditional problems.
Agreed 100%. Danielle wants to talk about paid versus unpaid internships for next week. We will bring that up. Look at the face. When James's face does that, that means it's a topic for discussion. Folks, this has been fun, always engaging. Go ahead.
I don't think anyone should work for free.
That's true.
I don't think anyone should work for free.
I have to agree with you on that. They should get paid. Everybody should get paid. Period.
I mean, get paid something, right? Yep. Get paid something.
Yep.
Like
about it.
Like free taste, like
just like interviews. Like, don't ask business questions. You're just
trying to get free advice. Trying to get free advice. All right, folks, we have to wrap. This is always fun. Are we doing another CISO Thursdays next week?
Yeah.
Are we turning this into a weekly thing? Are we giving the people what they want? So
are you ready for this?
Are you ready for this? Next Thursday, 11 Eastern, same time, same place. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, our infamous CISOs, Chris Foulon, my brother from another mother, and all of you awesome guests that come in. In our community.
Yeah. Woo.
Bye, everybody.
See y'all.